Okay.
Okay, good morning everybody and welcome to this meeting of the Swansea Bay Joint Committee. I'll go first for apologies for absence. Mr. Evans, who do we have?
I have no apologies for absence.
Okay, I've been advised of two, one from Mr. Steve Wilkes at Swansea University and from Professor Medwyn Hughes of Trinity St David's. Are there any other apologies anybody wishes to give today? No? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest that anybody wishes to declare on any item on the agenda? I can't see any. Okay, thank you all. Moving on then to the minutes of the previous joint committee held on the 15th of March. I haven't advised of any changes, so could I ask for a mover and seconder for the minutes, please? Thank you, Councillor Dole.
Thank you.
Yeah, I second, sir.
Thank you, Councillor Latham. If we can go to the vote then, if that's okay, all happy to agree? Yep, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to Chair's announcements. I don't have any for today's meeting. Item 5, public questions, Mr. Evans. Do we have any public questions today?
There are none, Chair.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to use Chair's indulgence here to reorder the agenda, if I can, please. And I intend to move item 7 up to item 6 in order that we can take the auditor's report. And with that, if I could welcome Mr. Jason Garcia from Audit Wales. And Mr. Garcia, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. You have the annual audit plan in front of you for Swansea Bay City Deal Region Joint Committee. I'll go quickly through it and I'm more than happy to take any questions at the end if that's okay. Usual sort of standards, a template around our sort of duties and things of that nature. There's an additional section coming in at paragraph 5. Obviously, COVID-19's had a significant impact on all of the ways of working across, all of our organisations, and ultimately, we just talk a little bit about how it's impacted on our work and how we're dealing with a more sort of flexible approach to delivering our audit work there in paragraph 7. The first exhibit I'd like to share with you is exhibit 1, and this is where we do our annual sort of risk assessment from a financial audit point of view. And as part of the plan, we have to identify what we see as significant risks. This particular year, we've identified 2 significant risks. One is the standard management override of financial controls. That is in every single audit plan, every single one of you will have ever seen, so nothing untoward there. And we've outlining what work we will be doing to mitigate that audit risk there. There's an additional one out in relation to COVID-19, ultimately from a point of view of delivery. We hopefully now we're coming to the back end of it, and with the vaccination program increasing, hopefully things will be relaxed and continue to relax without an impact on case numbers. But you are a relatively small organisation with some key individuals, and if something were to happen to any one of those, that could impact, our ability to deliver as we're currently, planning to deliver. So that's in there as a particular, risk, and we will continue to work flexibly with your officers, around how we deliver the audit going forward for this year. The third one is in our what we call other area of audit attention, and it's just in relation to sort of the continual governance arrangement scenario whereby you've had a number of reviews in the last sort of 18 months. You've made a number of changes to your governance arrangements, and these changes are ultimately, still being embedded into some of the operational processes, and we will basically, consider these as part of a review of the annual governance statement we'll undertake later this year, and we'll also be doing the detailed audit testing we would do every year around ensuring that you're entering into transactions that you should be doing. The next section of the plan just talks about the work we'll do on our performance audit for this year, and that's just sort of a keep in view type scenario as you progress. And then the same sort of statutory audit functions, and there's a bit of information about your audit fee. Basically no changes there. We've retained it as the level we delivered for last year, but as always, it is an estimate, and dependent on the amount of time we take to deliver the audit, we'll assess the fee at the end of the audit. couple of changes to notify you of in relation to your audit team. Anne-Marie Harkin was your engagement director. She's recently taken up a promotion internally with us to become our executive director for the audit practice. So Richard Harris has taken over as engagement director. And then there's a change as well in relation to your performance audit manager, in that Non Jenkins has now picked that up. As far as timetables we're working to, ultimately this is your audit plan, and we'll be delivering the work, in sort of March to July, with agreeing then, dependent on your committee dates, a date to come to this committee in the future to bring, our report to those charged with governance, with the aim of doing that before September. And that's all I had to say, Chair, and I'm more than happy to take any questions that you have.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Garcia. I'll go to Chris Moore first. Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Chair. Just a general comment that actually I have reviewed this with the auditor prior to it coming here today. I think the risks that are identified are quite right and proper within here, and we have agreed the timetable. So from my point of view, as Section 151, I'm content with the content and what Jason has presented here today.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Are there any other comments or contributions? If not, then as Mr. Garcia outlined, we've got the proposed plan and scope there with the action. So today we're being asked to agree that. So if I could ask leader colleagues, please, if you're in agreement that we should agree the plan. Okay, thank you. David, I can't see your hand. Councillor Simpson, did you do you want to let me know what you intend?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you very much. That's great. Okay, that's unanimous.
Leader.
Thank you very much. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. I know you need to get away, so you're free to leave the meeting now. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you for having me here today, and keep well all.
Cheers. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, we'll now move back to the highlight report, which is item 6, and I'll go over to Jonathan Burns. John?
Thank you, Chair. You've all got the highlight report. This is now a standard reporting document. It gives you a nice, neat summary of all the projects and programs and what activity they've achieved and what activities they plan, with a couple of key issues and risks associated with them. So I'm not going to go through the entire report. I'll do it by exception. Before I go into the projects and programs, just a couple of portfolio level updates. The first one is the portfolio business case that you received last month is now with Welsh and UK government. So we're having a briefing session with them tomorrow with government officials, and they will review that business case accordingly. And then the next drawdown of funds should come in the summer of 2021. Procurement pipeline is on the event on the agenda, and Pete Austin is here to talk about that. So that's really good stuff on that front. We've also, it is audit season, as we just heard from Jason, but we've also done our regional, or what we call internal audit, completed by Pembrokeshire Council, and that will come through our governance committees next month. And then the last one, just to update, is that we have new updated video content, which is now on our website, which summarises all the projects and their current status and what they're about, to share with all of our key stakeholders and partners. So in terms of project updates, everything's progressing well on all fronts. Digital has started recruitment for the central programme team, and the commercial options are being, assessments are being commenced. Homes as power stations, the business case is still with the government. We're doing some amendments to the economic appraisal, and that should be resubmitted imminently. Similar for low carbon, the economic appraisal is being modernised and put back in, and working groups have been established now around various things like Switch, which is around steel, and some of the other projects. So everything's moving in the right direction with those two. Pentra Owl was approved, so congratulations to everyone, Chris and Wendy and Emlyn and the team. Tendering process is now moving forward for Zone 1. That's circa 70 million in that sort of ballpark area. The waterfront, the arena is progressing well. It is now watertight, and there's lots of progression happening around planning applications and tendering processes. And then the last two I just want to cover together is skills and talent as a programme, and campuses, which is led by Swansea University. So both of those business cases are in development. They're progressing well. The plan is to get those into regional approval system by June, and then off to the governments for hopefully if not earlier, a September start date. That's the intention. So so we're working closely with those two projects and the people associated with them to try and help progress those as quickly as we can. So, Chair, that is a kind of very high-level summary of key aspects, but there's a lot more detail in the reports for people to read in their time.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. And yes, again, good progress being made across the region with the live projects and with the creation, as you say, of the business cases that are to come. I'll open it up. Does anybody have any questions on any of the updates for Jonathan? I can't see any. Okay, Jonathan, thank you very much. Good update. We'll move then to, we'll note that update. So we'll move now to item 8, which is the procurement event feedback. As members will know, we held a procurement event recently, and it was a successful event with some £250 million worth of contracts shortly to be offered out to businesses locally and regionally. So it's a really important event, and if I call Peter Austin in now to give us the feedback from that event. So Peter, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Members, and what I'd like to do is just give you a brief overview of the event which we held on the 24th of March. It was a partnership event held between the City Deal portfolio team and Business Wales and Sell to Wales. The target audience was a sort of broad base of construction and supplier M&E across the region. That was the intended audience. And the purpose of the event was it was twofold really, was to demonstrate that the City Deal is actually moving forward. So it's part of a PR exercise there. And it was also a platform for each of our projects to explain to the audience what they're bringing to the market, potentially during this current calendar year of 2021. So the aim of the event was to try and get this message across, but it's meeting our second procurement principle, which is advanced notification to the industry. So that's another reason for us to do it, is to make sure that as soon as we know what we're doing, we can get this message across to the supply chain. So as I said, it was a partnership between Business Wales, Sell to Wales and ourselves. A registration platform was provided by Business Wales. They do this type of thing all the time. We used the Microsoft Teams Live platform to host the event. It doesn't actually have the facility for registration. So Business Wales were very good to step in and help do that for us. We had around 150 registrations. There were some duplications in there, and we had a few apologies on the day. When the event went live, we initially had about 90 attendees, but that then settled down to an average of about 84 for the duration of the event. The event lasted 2 hours. We had an overview provided by the chair, Councillor Stewart. We were then to have an update from Chris Foxall from the ESB, but unfortunately we did experience 1 or 2 connection errors on the day, but we managed to smooth that one over and carry on with the event. We finished the event with a presentation by Sell to Wales, because we are actually using that platform for a lot of our projects. So they were advising how that platform could work for contractors. We have actually got a Swansea Bay City Deal project page on that platform. So we have a sort of what do we call it, a holding page there where we can put announcements and things like that. Then that was followed up by Business Wales, who were advising both our projects and the attendees what support they could offer going forward through procurement, through meet the buyer events, through training for suppliers, etc., etc. We had a question and answer facility, so throughout the event, the attendees could throw a few questions to us. And we managed to answer quite a lot of those live, and those that we couldn't, we followed up with post the event. I suppose the important thing is that we had some good feedback. when Business Wales organise events, they have a standard questionnaire that they send out to all the attendees that take part. Given that we had circa 84 constant attendees, we had 47 responses to that, which is very good. Actually, it's over 50% of the attendees responded. 91% said that they definitely benefited from the event. And then some sort of interesting stats here. 57% of the attendees were actually based within the region. So we did get a reasonably good spread of regional businesses. And of those that responded, 83% that they were not currently supplying major projects within the region. Business Wales analysed this as being good because it gives us contact with new suppliers that they could follow up with separately to our event. 100% said that they were happy with the duration of the event, and 100% said that they would attend another similar event. And these two results show that the attendees were satisfied with the content and remained engaged throughout. So all in all, I think it was a very positive result and very well received from us. I just would like to read out, there was a free text question in the response, and one of them came back and it said, I don't think there are any aspects of the event that I would have changed. Given the restrictions and it being an online event, I think that all attendees should be satisfied with the content, the delivery and the presentation, and the potential opportunities which may exist going forward. And that is actually a fairly constant response that we've had. So even where we followed up with people who had a few niggles, they've all said, thank you very much for the event. It was very, very informative and we'd like to see more of them. Just to finish, I would like to put on record that we really recognise the support given to us by Business Wales in running the event. They provided 2 of their officers to help us in the back room to run the event, to make sure it went smoothly. So I'd like that to go on record, that we thank Business Wales and Celta Wales for that valuable contribution to making it a successful event. And that's the end of my report, Chair.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Peter. A really good event, as you said, and I think well received. And I think demonstration of our commitment that we've talked about for some time, which is trying to make sure that businesses locally and regionally have as much notice of the potential for accessing contracts and getting the benefit of the money and the investment that we've managed to secure for our region. Because it's not that we are looking to do anything that wouldn't be within the rules, but obviously what we do want to do is to make sure that there is an awareness and a level of preparation and readiness by companies in the region to bid for contracts that may be coming along. So yeah, all good stuff then. And again, Peter, take my thanks to you and the team and everybody involved in the event. I think it went really well. So I don't know whether any colleagues have any questions around the event or want to make any comments. I can't see any hands up for that. So again, with that one, we'll note the update. So thank you, Peter. And we'll go on to any other business and go over to Jonathan first for the first item. Jonathan.
Thanks, Chair. So the any other business I wanted to cover was, as part of our governance review, there was a suggestion made that we have some sort of planning workshops with our governance committee members. So that's Economic Strategy Board, Programme Board and Joint Committee, and that we come together periodically. The suggestion was every 6 months, but that's up for debate. But the first one we want to plan for around June this year. And the whole purpose of it is to review what we've achieved and to look forward and plan regionally on the priorities and things that we're doing. And again, learn lessons from what we've experienced and put those into the future planning. So this is more of a kind of an awareness of that will happen. The planning of it is currently underway. So we'll work with the 3 chairs of the governance committees to shape that. And then once that's underway, we'll start communicating that across stakeholders, setting dates, etc. The first one, and Rob, I think we talked about this earlier this week, the first one is likely to be digital because of the timing of it. But in the future, we would like to have those as physical meetings where we can bring all those members together from the governance committees. So I just wanted to raise that as A or B.
Yep, thank you, Jonathan. I think this is one of the review recommendations that came through around, essentially giving ourselves a bit more thinking time. So it wouldn't be it wouldn't be the formal committee arrangement, but bringing together the ESB, the program board, and members of this committee, so that we can do that thinking time. I think one of the things of our predecessor body, where we did get members of the private sector and public sector together to do those sort of get-togethers, to do some thinking and engagement, I think really helped us make some progress. I know we've got some meaty topics to address as we adapt to the new Brexit world and the new funding arrangements that are around. So these will be opportunities for us to workshop some of those ideas with wider groups. And again, it's a recommendation that came through previously. So again, as Jonathan said, with the ongoing restrictions, it's unlikely that we'll be able to get together face to face by the time the first meeting takes place. But certainly the intent would be, as these progress, then for us to establish more of a workshop environment for us to do that, where we can get together. So, okay, just a bit of explanation on that. Sorry, Karen, I can see your hand up there. Karen, did you want to come in?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'd just like to suggest that some considerations given to how the Joint Scrutiny Committee could contribute to that planning exercise that Jonathan's just outlined. I think it would be useful for the committee to perhaps demonstrate how they feel it could add value to the Joint Committee's work going forward.
Yeah, certainly take that on board, Karen. And again, we'll take some advice, obviously, because scrutiny provides a critical friend role. And obviously, we need to make sure that scrutiny are not marking their own homework. But certainly, we do need to find a mechanism for them to input into this. But yeah, certainly, we'll pick that one up, Karen. Good point. Okay, can I just ask leader colleagues, are we happy with the outline suggestion of us having those workshop events at about 6 months periods, just so we all get together in the various groups? Okay, thank you all very much. I haven't been notified of any other AOB, but if there is any other items that anybody wishes to raise, more than happy to take them this morning. If not, can I thank you all then for your attendance? I wish you all well, and we'll see you next month. Thank you all very much, folks. Take care.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.